Stampers, this is Verna from stampinnotes.com, and I have a really cute end of the year card to share with you today. It's called a Joy Fold, and it's featuring one of our new stamp sets coming in our new mini catalog for January to June 2021, and this set is called the Darling Donkeys, and it is just adorable. This donkey is saying good riddance 2020. And you open this up, it says wishing you a happy 2021, and then inside it says hope this new year is filled with promises of many bright tomorrows. So let's talk about what I used to make this card, and I'm going to tell you the different products and the measurements, and if you missed that, I will have them down in the description below when I upload the video on YouTube. So I began with a piece of thick Whisper White cardstock, and this is 4 1/4 by 11, and it's scored at 5 1/2. Also, we need a piece of regular Whisper White that's 4 1/4 by 3 for the inside. We need a piece of Pool Party for our second large card, and this is the little card that's on the front. It's 8 1/2 by 3, and you can see I have embossed this with the 3D brick mortar embossing folder on one end. We have another little piece of designer series paper for the front. This is 2 1/4 by 4, and it's using the Snowflake Splendor designer series paper, which is retiring. It's beautiful, so you might want to pick that up right now. This is our inside piece. It's 4 by 2 3/4. And we have a layer for the inside of the big card with the snowflake paper again. It's 5 1/4 by 4. And our inside sentiment piece is 4 1/4 by 3 for inside of the big card. Let's start with our card base piece of thick Whisper White cardstock that's 11 by 4 1/4. And what we're going to do is I am going to bring my trimmer in, and I'm going to cut off 3 inches off the end of this and one end. If you don't have the trimmer, this is an awesome tool. Probably my favorite tool. It has a scoring blade, which we're not going to use right now, and this is the cutting blade. And I'm just going to cut that off there. And so our card base looks like this. And we'll give it a good crease with our bone folder. I'll go ahead and add some of the layers on this. I'm going to go ahead and use my multi-purpose liquid glue. I'm going to bring in I have my piece of Snowflake Splendor Designer Series paper. I'm going to adhere it down to the inside this will be the matte piece. I'm just going to use a thin amount of glue around the edges. I love to use the glue because you can move it around a little bit. I don't use it for everything, but for some things I do. Okay, I'm going to lay that down there. I have to change the blade on my trimmer. And I'm just going to take these raggy edges here and get them off with my bone folder. There, that looks pretty good. Okay, now I'm going to bring in the designer series paper for the front. And I'm going to layer that on there like that. If you haven't subscribed to my channel and you would like to, I would love to have you subscribe. Hit the subscribe button and then the bell so you're notified when I upload my other video tutorials. Okay, so we've got our basic card base done. I'm going to set that aside. And now I'm going to do some stamping. I have a piece of scrap Whisper White, and I'm going to stamp the donkey kicking his heels up. And you know, I saw this card somewhere, or not this design, but I saw someone had used the donkey to say goodbye to 2020, and I just thought that was so cute. I can't remember where I saw it or who it was, but anyways, I just thought, what a cute idea. Say goodbye to 2020. All right, so we're gonna stamp him right there, and then I'm gonna use, and I use the black Memento ink, and I'm going to use the Stampin' Write markers, and whenever you, or excuse me, the Stampin' Blend markers, and whenever you use them, you want to use the black Memento ink. I'm gonna start with a light gray. Actually, this is a light smoky slate, and I am just gonna go all over this donkey with that. I'm using the wide brush tip end, and I'm going to switch tips. I'm going to use the bullet tip for the legs just because it's thinner and I can control it better. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and do his face. Like that. And the ears. I think these donkeys are hilarious. And I am going to do some shading where the donkey would be like on his belly here. I'm just gonna come in like that. I'm gonna go ahead and go up along the bottom of his neck. And you will find that this will blend in. It'll work, and as it dries, it'll blend in. And then under his ears, I guess just the one ear. Here's the black. I'm just gonna do his hooves in black like that. Over it, and his tail. And now I'm going to bring in Blushing Bride and do his around his mouth and nose. And this is the dark, oh sorry, this is dark petal pink actually. We'll just do Mr. Donkey's nose like that. And he's ready to punch him out, and I'm using the 2 inch, I'm using the 2 1/4 inch punch, circle punch. And we'll bring him down about like that. All right, so that part is done. I went ahead and did the inside of the small card just to save time. And you can see here that I've done some blending with the dark Stampin' Blend and the light Stampin' Blend here. So this is our sentiment piece, and I'll go ahead and do that. And I had the large donkey with the flower in its mouth. Whoops. And I'm going to stamp him right here. Okay, that isn't the greatest stamped image, but I'm going to go ahead and color that because by the time I colored it, it's not going to show that much. Okay, so again, I'm going to start with a light smoky gray, and I'm going to do the donkey's legs. I'm going to switch to the brush tip. And do his mouth here, and his head, and do the ears. Usually with the Stampin' Blends, you start with the lighter shade, and then add your shadows with the darker. And you can come back in and just keep adding and adding all you want if you wanted to, and get the exact hue or layer of colors that you want. I'm going to do some little blend dark shadow at the bottom of his belly, and then around here, we'll come down this side probably, go around here, and we'll do his mouth, or his nose I should say. And the petal pink. And a dab of green for our leaf and the stem. And how about a bright pink, I think this is Magenta Madness, for our rose. And I think all we have left are the hooves. And again, I'm using black for that. Now as this dries, it will blend in with the lighter, well actually the light and the dark will blend together. I really love using these. All right, so now we just need to stamp our sentiment for the inside. For the sentiments I'm using, I wish for everything. I'm using wishing you a, and then this is a sentiment, hope this new year is filled with promises of many bright tomorrows. This is a really nice set. It has a lot of different holidays, and it has a beautiful die set with it also. And we're going to put it in the upper left. Hope this new year is filled with promises of many bright tomorrows. Okay, so there's that. I think all of our stamping is done. So I'm going to go ahead and put this together. Now also I wanted to mention that I've used the Playful Alphabet dies for the numbers, for die cutting the numbers. This is great. It has numbers and letters and practical to have also. So first of all, we're going to take our small card layer, which is this one right here. And just to save time, I've already run it through the brick and mortar 3D embossing folder. That's this one, and I've run it so the bricks are going this way on it. And first thing I'm going to do is, and probably this is the hardest thing of this whole card, is putting the numbers on. I just used the liquid glue to put them on, and I'm going to start with the 2, and you just want to use a tiny little dots of it. You don't need a whole lot to put that on there, and you want to go right up in the corner, and your opening is going this way with your card. So the 2, then a 0, and we're going to put that like that. I hope that you all had a wonderful holiday, Christmas, regardless of COVID and all of that. And here's our other 0. Okay, so our donkey's going to go here, and we're going to pop him up with dimensionals. They're a little foam adhesive, and what's nice about it is it will pop your layer up and give it dimension to whatever you're adding them to. And then you have to peel the backing. They're sticky on both sides. All right, so we want, oops, before we do that, I almost forgot. We want some ribbon. Now I had used the silver metallic ribbon. I love this, it's so pretty. And I'm out of it, so I'm gonna bring in the black organdy ribbon, which it's really pretty. Actually it's called the black glittered organdy ribbon. And you wanna cut a big enough piece so you're not struggling to tie a bow. I'm going to put it just like this, and I want my bow at the top. I love this ribbon too. I mean, black goes with everything, and who doesn't like a little sparkle? Okay, so we've got our ribbon on there. I'm just going to trim the tails. And now let's add Mr. Donkey. We already put the dimensionals on. Here we go. So we want him kicking away, 2020. More like that, I think. And we need a little bit of something, a little glam there. So we'll come back to that in a minute. Now for the inside of this, I have already done it just to save time. And this little guy is saying, wishing you a happy 2021. And this piece is 4 by 2 3/4. As you can see, the alcohol markers, the Stampin' Blends, do bleed through. So when you're using them, you want to have some scrap paper or something underneath if the surface you're working on needs to be protected. And we'll slide that in there like that. All right, all of that's done. And we're gonna go ahead and when you put this on your front layer here, you want to glue just over to here. You don't want to glue the whole back side. So again, we're coming in with a liquid glued, or you could use the Seal. I would probably use the Seal Plus on this front part. And so we're gonna go over about like that. That looks okay. And now I want this inside part to be hidden, so I'm going to just lay it down and see about where I want it. So about right over to the edge, really. And again with the liquid glue. And I'm going to go right to there. I'm going to lay it down and see when I close it if that's hidden. And it is. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Well, good grief. I can't seem to find the original. These are what I used on this one. So I'm going to go with the Playing with Patterns resin dots. So I'm going to stick that on there. And we'll put one up there like that. And there's our card. 2020, goodbye. Wishing you a happy 2021. And hope this New Year's is filled with promises of many bright tomorrows. Thanks so much for stopping by. Take care, and I'll see you next week.